I'm a big ham, really. I just get on that stage and do it. I don't really take myself that seriously.
Freddie Mercury, who died last night of AIDS. There have been tributes to his talent and his courage from friends and from fans. I still love you. I'm sorry it has to end this way. November 24th of 1991 marks a pivotal day in the history of music. The day that Freddie Mercury, the iconic lead vocalist of Queen, passed away. I don't know. I'm just me. You know, I'm just me. I'm very disorganized at times. I'm organized at times, and I'm just me. His loss was not only the end of an era, but also a moment that deeply resonated across the globe. Join us as we look at the life and career of Freddie Mercury. Mercury's early life and path to stardom. Far from the glittering stages and roaring crowds, Freddie Mercury's life began in the humble settings of Zanzibar. His early life was a far cry from the flamboyant persona he would later embody, and his childhood was spent in a melting pot of cultures, a factor that significantly influenced his artistic style. Living in a conservative community, Freddie was shaped by traditional values, with his father working as a cashier for the British Colonial Office, providing the family with a modest but stable life. It was in these early years that Freddie's inclination towards music began to emerge. At the age of 7, he was sent to St. Peter's School, a British-style boarding school in India. This move, though challenging, was pivotal in nurturing his musical talent. The school, with its emphasis on the arts, provided Freddie with his first formal exposure to music, where he learned to play the piano and joined the school choir, displaying a natural flair for music. Freddie's time at the school was more than just academic. It was there that he formed his first band, the Hectics. This experience was his initial foray into performing, where he began to understand the thrill and challenges of live music. The Hectics, mostly covering rock and roll hits, became a popular fixture at school events, giving Freddie his first taste of the spotlight. In 1963, political unrest in Zanzibar prompted his family to move to England, marking a significant turn in Freddie's life. Settling down, the change of scenery brought new challenges and opportunities. Freddie, now a teenager, was immersed in a radically different culture, one bustling with the revolutionary sounds of the 1960s rock scene. Freddie excelled in his studies at university, and his talent was evident. This period was crucial in shaping his aesthetic sensibilities, which would later become a hallmark of Queen's visual style. The London music scene of the late 60s was vibrant, and Freddie was drawn to it. He frequented music venues, absorbing the energy and styles of contemporary bands. It was during this period that he met Brian May and Roger Taylor, members of the band Smile. Freddie's interactions with them soon led to the formation of Queen, but not before he experienced various jobs, including working at Heathrow Airport and dabbling in other musical ventures. In 1970, the stars aligned when he officially joined the band, forming Queen. John Deacon later joined, completing the iconic lineup. Freddie's influence was immediate. He was instrumental in renaming the band, and used his design skills to create the famous Queen logo, incorporating the zodiac signs of all the band members. The early years were a mixture of excitement and struggle. The band's unique sound, a blend of rock opera and various other genres, did not fit neatly into any existing category, and their attempts to gain traction met with mixed responses. However, Freddie's determination and vision for the band never wavered. In 1973, they released their first album, and though it was not an immediate success, it showcased the band's unique style and Freddie's powerful vocals. Their third effort in 1974 became their breakthrough, followed by the groundbreaking A Night at the Opera in 1975, featuring the epic Bohemian Rhapsody. The song, a complex masterpiece combining both rock and opera, became an instant classic, cementing Queen's place in rock history. The transformation of Queen and Mercury's artistic evolution. From the mid-1970s to the early 1990s, Queen, with Freddie Mercury as its dynamic frontman, underwent a remarkable transformation, evolving both musically and visually. This period was not only about the band's ascent to stardom, but also a canvas for Mercury's artistic evolution, showcasing his versatility and willingness to push boundaries. In the early years, Queen's music was a daring blend of hard rock, progressive rock, and a touch of heavy metal. evident in albums like Queen and Queen 2. However, with Sheer Heart Attack in 1974 and the iconic A Night at the Opera in 1975, they began to defy conventional music genres. Bohemian Rhapsody epitomized this defiance, a 6-minute-long suite that combined hard rock and opera, defying all standard formulas and becoming one of the band's most beloved songs in rock history. Freddie's role in Queen was multifaceted. As the lead vocalist, he brought unmatched intensity and range to the music. His increasingly bold and diverse songwriting drew from a wide range of influences. Songs like Somebody to Love and Crazy Little Thing Called Love showcased his versatility, drawing from gospel and rockabilly styles, respectively. Visually, Queen and Freddie were just as adventurous. The band's performances became theatrical spectacles, with Freddie's flamboyant costumes and charismatic stage presence becoming hallmarks of their identity. Their concerts were more than just musical performances. They were immersive experiences that left audiences spellbound. The late 70s and 80s marked a period of great experimentation and change for Queen. The album News of the World, featuring anthems like We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions, leaned towards more mainstream rock sounds. This was followed by Jazz in the Game. The latter, including the disco-influenced Another One Bites the Dust. These albums reflected Queen's ability to adapt and appeal to a broader audience without losing their distinctive edge. The 1980s were a decade of expansion and exploration for Freddie and the band. They ventured into dance, funk, and electronic music, as heard in Hot Space. This album, particularly the single Under Pressure with David Bowie, highlighted Freddie's openness to different genres and collaborations. Freddie's personal life also influenced his artistic direction. His experiences, relationships, and exploration of his identity found expression in his music. Songs like Love of My Life and These Are the Days of Our Lives are seen as reflections of his personal sentiments and relationships. Throughout the 80s, Queen's popularity soared globally. The Magic Tour in 1986, which would be their last with Freddie, saw them performing to some of the largest audiences ever. However, it was not only the music that evolved. Freddie's appearance underwent a significant transformation. In the 70s, his look was characterized by long hair and glam rock attire, but by the 80s, he sported a shorter and more rugged look, complete with a mustache, symbolizing a new phase in his life and career. Freddie's impact extended well beyond music. He became an icon of self-expression. His uninhibited stage persona and defiance of gender norms resonated with many, especially within the LGBTQ+ community. He challenged societal expectations and became a symbol of freedom and bold individualism. Queen's transformation, under Freddie's leadership, mirrored a change in cultural landscapes. From the 70s and 80s, they embraced the ethos of their time, experimentation and self-expression, along with breaking down traditional barriers in both music and performance. By the end of the 80s, their style had once again shifted. Albums like The Miracle and Innuendo reflected a more mature and introspective approach. These albums, particularly Innuendo, with its complex and haunting title track, are often seen as reflective of Freddie's personal struggles with his failing health, personal life, relationships, and inner struggles. Freddie Mercury's public persona was larger than life, but his personal life was a myriad of complex relationships, private battles, and a search for love and identity. Behind the flamboyant stage presence was a man grappling with his inner self, yearning for genuine connection and struggling with societal norms of the time. His early life was shaped by cultural and religious influences that were conservative and traditional. Moving to England in his teens introduced him to a society in the midst of upheaval, particularly in terms of sexuality and identity. At the heart of his personal life was his relationship with Mary Austin. They met in the late 60s, when Freddie was just beginning his career. Mary worked at a London boutique and their relationship blossomed into a deep bond, with Freddie once referring to Mary as his common-law wife. They shared a loving partnership for several years, and even after Freddie revealed his bisexuality to her, their bond transformed, but did not break. Mary remained a pivotal figure in his life, with Freddie entrusting her with much of his estate and the responsibility of scattering his ashes in a secret location, as per his final wish. Freddie's exploration of his sexuality was marked with both liberation and challenge. The 70s and 80s were a time of growing visibility for the LGBTQ+ community, but also significant stigma and discrimination. Freddie navigated this landscape privately, never publicly coming out during his lifetime. His relationships with men, though known in his inner circle, were kept away from the public eye. One of the most significant relationships was with Jim Hutton, an Irish hairdresser. The pair met at a nightclub in the 1980s and soon formed a close and loving bond. Hutton was with Freddie in his last years, caring for him as his health declined due to AIDS. Their relationship represented a period of stability and domestic calm in Freddie's life, far removed from the public spectacle of his stage persona. Freddie's relationships were not only romantic, he formed deep friendships in the music industry, most notably with fellow artists like Elton John and David Bowie. These relationships provided him with a sense of camaraderie and mutual respect, critical in an industry often marked by competition and isolation. Another aspect of his personal life was his heritage and his Zoroastrian faith in which he was raised. Though not overtly religious as an adult, his upbringing and cultural background remained an integral part of his identity. This duality of East and West played out in his music, which often blended different cultural elements. The battle with AIDS and public speculation in the latter part of Freddie Mercury's life was a personal battle waged away from the public eye. It was a battle against AIDS, a disease that was little understood and heavily stigmatized during the 1980s. This chapter of his life was marked by courage, dignity, and fierce privacy, even as public speculation swirled around his increasingly frail appearance. Diagnosed with AIDS in the late 1980s, Freddie faced the challenge at a time when the disease was a death sentence. The epidemic cast a long shadow of fear and misunderstanding across the world, and those who were diagnosed were often socially ostracized. For Freddie, a public figure idolized by millions, the diagnosis meant not only grappling with a life-threatening illness, but also navigating the intense scrutiny of the media and fans. Despite his illness, he continued to work, pouring his energy into his music. His last album with the band, Innuendo, was released in 1991. As Freddie's health declined, media speculation intensified. Tabloids were rife with rumors about his appearance, health, and private life, with photographs of an increasingly thin Freddie appearing frequently, leading to widespread speculation about AIDS. Although no confirmation came from Freddie or his close circle, this period was challenging not only for Freddie, but also for his bandmates, friends, and family, who respected his wishes for privacy while facing public pressures for answers. The speculation about Freddie's health was part of a broader narrative of fear and misunderstanding surrounding AIDS at the time. The disease was often linked to moral judgment and prejudice, particularly against the gay community. Freddie, a beloved public figure, found himself at the center of this narrative, with his illness becoming a topic of public discourse and speculation. His response to the illness was characterized by admirable discretion and dignity. He chose to keep his diagnosis private until the very end, focusing instead on music and the people he loved. This decision was not only a personal choice, but a statement in a time of rampant stigma against AIDS and the LGBTQ+ community. By keeping his illness private, he maintained control over his narrative, refusing to be defined by the disease. In his final days, he made the significant decision to go public with his diagnosis. On November 23, 1991, just one day before his death, he released a statement acknowledging that he had AIDS. This announcement was a profound moment, not only for fans, but also for the broader conversation about the disease. It brought the reality of the disease into public consciousness, highlighting that it could affect anyone, even a celebrated rock star. His death on November 24th, at the age of 40, was a moment of profound loss for the music world and its fans. It also became a turning point in the public perception of AIDS, humanizing the disease, breaking down some of the stigma and prompting a more compassionate and informed discourse. In the aftermath of his death, Freddie's legacy played a significant role in AIDS awareness and research. The Mercury Phoenix Trust, established by Queen and Freddie's manager Jim Beach, raised millions for AIDS research and awareness. The Freddie Mercury Tribute Concert for AIDS Awareness, held in April 1992, brought together some of the biggest names in music and was broadcast to an audience of millions, furthering the conversation about AIDS and paying tribute to both Freddie's life and legacy. Freddie Mercury's final days were marked by reflection and intimacy. As the sun set on his life, the world outside remained oblivious to the quiet transformations taking place within the walls of his mansion. Those final days, a blending of contemplation and intimate gatherings, were a stark contrast to the flamboyant lifestyle he had been known for. However, Freddie knew that his time was limited. His mansion, once the site of extravagant parties and endless merrymaking, turned into a sanctuary where he spent precious moments with the closest of friends and family. Despite his failing health, his voice retained its strength, a final defiance against the disease that ravaged his body. His love for cats was well known, and in his final days, he indulged in long conversations with his 8 feline companions. This quirky habit was an extension of his eccentric personality. He used to call them while on tour, ensuring that they heard his voice, even when they were miles apart. These small moments of joy amidst the pain and fatigue highlighted his enduring affection for his creatures. His partner, Jim Hutton, remained a constant presence, offering support and love. Freddie also dedicated time to his passion for art, creating abstract paintings that perhaps were reflections of his inner turmoil and peace. One significant aspect of his final days was the decision to stop medication. This choice was not about giving up, it was about taking control. He wanted to face the end on his own terms, an attitude that had characterized his entire life. Among the quieter moments were discussions about the future of Queen. Freddie expressed no misgivings about the band continuing after his departure. His concern for his legacy, both as an individual and as a part of Queen, became evident. He wanted the music to live on, transcending his physical presence. Freddie made plans for his possessions and wealth, ensuring that those he loved were taken care of. Mary Austin, his former girlfriend and lifelong friend, was particularly significant in those plans. He entrusted her with a significant portion of his fortune and the responsibility of executing his final wishes. The world did not know it then, but Freddie Mercury was crafting his final act. He spent his last hours in the comfort of his home, surrounded by those he loved. His assistant recalled his final words, a request not to be portrayed as someone boring. Even in his final moments, his vibrant personality shone through. The sad addiction. However, behind the public facade, he battled with personal demons, including drug addiction, which significantly impacted his life and career. Understanding this aspect of Mercury's life provides a more complete picture of the man behind the legend, highlighting both his vulnerabilities and his resilience. Freddie Mercury's drug use began in the hedonistic 1970s and 1980s, a period marked by the excesses of rock and roll culture. During this time, recreational drug use was rampant in the music industry, and Mercury was no exception. He was known to indulge in cocaine, a drug that was widely used and glamorized within the rock scene. The pressures of fame, the constant touring, and the intense public scrutiny he faced contributed to his turning to substances as a form of escape and coping mechanism. Cocaine, in particular, played a significant role in Mercury's life during the height of Queen's success. The drug was readily available and became a part of his social life, often used during parties and social gatherings. Mercury's use of cocaine was not just about the high. It was also a means to maintain the high-energy performances and the demanding pace of his lifestyle. The drug's stimulating effects allowed him to keep up with the relentless schedule and the demands of being a global rock star. However, the euphoria provided by cocaine came at a high cost. The drug's effects on Mercury's health and well-being were profound. Cocaine use can lead to severe physical and psychological consequences, including cardiovascular issues, respiratory problems, and significant mental health challenges such as anxiety, paranoia, and depression. For Mercury, these effects began to manifest in various ways, impacting his personal and professional life. Mercury's addiction also strained his relationships with those around him. Friends and bandmates noted changes in his behavior, marked by increased irritability, erratic actions, and moments of deep introspection, followed by bouts of high energy. The highs and lows of his cocaine use created a volatile atmosphere, complicating his interactions and collaborations with others. Despite these challenges, Mercury's immense talent and charisma often mask the underlying issues, allowing him to continue performing and creating music at an exceptional level. The lifestyle associated with drug use also led to a number of risky behaviors and decisions. Mercury's personal life, characterized by a series of relationships and extravagant parties, often mirrored the chaos fueled by his addiction. These behaviors, while part of the rock star mythos, also exposed him to numerous dangers and health risks, further complicating his life and exacerbating his struggles with substance abuse. Michael Jackson disturbed recording songs with Freddie Mercury. In the early 1980s, Freddie Mercury and Michael Jackson, two of the most iconic and influential figures in music, attempted to collaborate on a series of recordings. This partnership, however, was fraught with tension and ultimately fell apart, largely due to Mercury's drug use, which became a significant point of contention between the two artists. Michael Jackson, known for his meticulous and professional approach to music, was frustrated by Mercury's erratic behavior during their recording sessions. At the time, Mercury was struggling with his cocaine addiction, which often led to unpredictable and disruptive conduct. Jackson, who valued discipline and precision in the studio, found it challenging to work under such conditions. The collaboration began with high hopes, with both artists excited about the prospect of combining their unique talents. They started working on a few tracks, including There Must Be More to Life Than This and State of Shock. However, the sessions quickly became strained. Mercury's drug use led to frequent delays and erratic behavior, which clashed with Jackson's need for a controlled and productive working environment. Jackson was particularly disturbed by Mercury's habit of bringing drugs into the studio. On several occasions, Jackson witnessed Mercury indulging in cocaine during breaks in their sessions. This behavior was not only a distraction, but also ran counter to Jackson's personal and professional values. Jackson, who was known to avoid drugs and alcohol, found it increasingly difficult to tolerate Mercury's actions. In interviews and conversations, Jackson later expressed his frustration with Mercury. He reportedly told friends and associates that he was fed up with Mercury's drug use and the impact it had on their work. Jackson's annoyance reached a peak when he discovered that Mercury had smuggled a dealer into the studio, further complicating their collaboration. The tension between the two stars eventually led to the abandonment of their joint project. The unfinished tracks remained in the vaults for years, only to be released later in various forms. Jackson went on to complete State of Shock with Mick Jagger, while Mercury included There Must Be More to Life Than This on his solo album. The failed collaboration between Freddie Mercury and Michael Jackson highlights the significant impact of Mercury's addiction on his professional relationships. Jackson's frustration was not just about the delays and disruptions, but also about a fundamental difference in their approaches to music and work ethics. Mercury's struggle with addiction, while a personal battle, had far-reaching consequences, affecting even the most promising of artistic partnerships. This episode, in both their careers, serves as a reminder of the challenges and complexities that come with creative collaboration, especially when personal issues interfere. Despite the disappointment, both Mercury and Jackson continued to achieve extraordinary success in their respective careers, leaving an indelible mark on the music world. The eerie final photo, the image, captured in August 1991 by his longtime partner Jim Hutton, showcases Mercury standing in the garden of his Kensington home, Garden Lodge. Despite his frail appearance, Mercury's inherent charisma shines through, making the photograph both heartbreaking and profoundly moving. In this photograph, Mercury is seen wearing a blue and white patterned shirt and a pair of light trousers. His once robust frame is markedly thinner, a visible testament to the ravages of AIDS, which had been steadily weakening him over the previous few years. Yet his posture remains upright and dignified, reflecting the same strength and resilience that he demonstrated throughout his life and career. The garden setting of the photograph adds a layer of tranquility and natural beauty to the image. Surrounded by lush greenery and vibrant flowers, Mercury appears at peace, enjoying a moment of calm in his beloved garden. This serene backdrop contrasts sharply with the internal struggles he was facing, providing a glimpse into his desire to maintain some semblance of normalcy and serenity. Despite his declining health, Mercury's decision to keep his battle with AIDS private until the very end makes this photograph all the more significant. By August 1991, speculation about his health was rampant, fueled by his increasingly rare public appearances and noticeable physical changes. Yet Mercury chose to face his illness away from the public eye, focusing on his music and the people he loved. This final photograph serves as a rare, intimate glimpse into those last private moments. The image also underscores the support and love he received from those closest to him. Jim Hutton, who took the photograph, was a constant presence in Mercury's life, offering unwavering support and companionship. The love and care from Hutton, along with other close friends and family members, provided Mercury with a vital source of strength during his final days. This photograph has since become an iconic representation of Freddie Mercury's final chapter. It encapsulates the dichotomy of his existence in those last months, a legendary performer battling a debilitating illness, yet still exuding a quiet dignity and grace. The photograph not only captures the physical toll of his illness, but also celebrates the enduring spirit of a man who lived life on his own terms. Freddie Mercury passed away on November 24th, 1991, just 3 months after this photograph was taken. His death marked the end of an era, but the legacy he left behind continues to inspire and captivate fans around the world. This final image, much like his music, remains a powerful reminder of his extraordinary life and the indomitable spirit that defined him. Legacy and cultural impact post-death. The passing of Freddie Mercury on November 24th, 1991, left a void in the music world far beyond the realms of both music and entertainment. In the years following his death, his legacy has not only grown, transcending generations and cultural boundaries, but it extends into various facets of art, society, and popular culture, continuing to inspire and captivate millions around the globe. Freddie Mercury's musical genius continues to resonate through Queen's enduring popularity. Classic hits like Bohemian Rhapsody, Somebody to Love, and We Are the Champions have stood the test of time, becoming anthems for new generations. These songs, characterized by their innovative structure, eclectic styles, and Mercury's powerful vocals, remain staples on radio playlists, in movie soundtracks, and at sporting events. The band's music saw a resurgence in popularity with the release of the biopic Bohemian Rhapsody in 2018, which introduced Mercury's story and Queen's music to a new audience. Freddie Mercury's impact transcends music. He became a cultural icon, celebrated for his unique style, flamboyant stage persona, and courageous life. He challenged societal norms, especially in terms of sexuality and performance, and as a result, he is revered as an icon in the LGBTQ+ community, symbolizing freedom, self-expression, and the fight against stigma and discrimination. Artists from various genres cite him as a major influence, and his ability to fuse different styles while pushing the boundaries of traditional rock music has inspired countless musicians. His approach to stage performance and his connection with the audience revolutionized live music shows, setting a high bar for many artists to come. His fashion sense, like his music, was both bold and unconventional. His stage outfits, ranging from elaborate costumes to the iconic simple white tank top and jeans, have influenced fashion designers and pop culture. His style was a blend of theater and simplicity, making a statement while breaking gender norms in fashion. The story of Freddie Mercury and Queen has been the subject of various movies, documentaries, books, and more. These representations have played a crucial role in keeping his memory alive, while introducing his artistry to those who were not present during Queen's heyday. The success of these media portrayals speaks volumes about his long-lasting appeal and the curiosity he still generates. Freddie Mercury has become a symbol of resilience and the pursuit of one's true self. His openness about his sexuality and his battle with AIDS make him a significant figure in social movements advocating for LGBTQ rights and health issues. The honesty and vulnerability he expressed in his music and his life resonate with many who face similar struggles. Decades after his death, Mercury's legacy is not confined to past glories, but continues to evolve. He lives on through his music, his influence on pop culture, and the ongoing work of the Mercury Phoenix Trust. His life story, marked by triumphs and challenges, continues to inspire and speak to the human experience. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this.